Good afternoon. My name is Brian Padian. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing with High Caliber. Today I'm alongside Dan Ois, the founder, the CEO of High Caliber. And today we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to go a different route. Instead of sending e-blasts for information on tariffs, we're going to try our luck with a podcast. So we're going to move quickly through the questions, and we're going to start right at the very top of this whole thing. Tariffs, China. Dan, you're familiar with China. Why don't you give us your perspective on tariffs, China, and trade in the U.S.?
Sure. Tariffs are everything. We're talking about tariffs constantly. I got friends calling me, people calling me about tariffs. What do you do? How are you going to solve it? Talk to other suppliers in the industry, just trying to figure it out. It's complicated. And a couple things we did. One of the first things I told everybody to do is to go ahead and go and figure out the tariff codes that you have and see if you can find a different item for that. So, for example, these are the tariff codes that came into play before Trump's first term. So there's like 18.8% on bags.
Okay.
Now, if you can take that bag and have it another item, something different, or if the bag has multiple functions, then yeah, maybe you can get a different tariff code and get it out of the 18.8 and get it into something cheaper.
Got it.
A lot of times the brokers, they go in and they decide for you, and then then they do a wrong job because they have no incentive to lower the tariffs. So
as a business owner then, are you involved in how the tariff code is associated with the actual product? I mean, I'm trying to think of bags or bags, but maybe there's another category you could pick that might make more sense.
Scissors is a good example.
Okay.
So let's take this. I got a pair of scissors here. Now, is this an office product? You don't know. It could be, but say for example, you have these kitchen scissors. Now all of a sudden you got a totally different product. This could be a kitchen item. It could be a household. Now, if you did the same scissors that may be cutting wire and things like that, then maybe it would be a different one. It'd be under the tool category. So yes, you have to be very involved. My purchasing team, they know how to do it, and we went through and made sure all the tariff codes were correct.
Okay. So details.
Yes. Oh yeah.
All right. So you get through that, and now what do you do next? What happens next?
Oh, we hammer the factories on the prices.
Makes
so we
sense.
go and get price decreases from the factories. Most are able to give some because the Chinese dollar changed a little bit. It got a little bit weaker, and the dollar got stronger, and we have a little more ability to press the price down.
And would you say that's across the board? As tariffs continue to go week by week, are factories coming to you and offering discounts? Do you have to be really aggressive in asking for them? How would you communicate the effectiveness of reducing prices is?
Well, right now the factories are all freaked out. I mean, they are having orders canceled to them. They're getting orders being held at the factory. Customers want to leave them there and don't pay. People are putting stuff in containers and leaving them at the port. I think you're going to see nothing's really going to leave China. I shouldn't say nothing, but most product is going to be stuck there till this thing is over.
Well, I don't think the everyday distributor understands the dilemma an owner goes through, but the folks in China themselves, are they getting information from their own government? What are people doing in China that are factory owners? What are they left to do?
I think they're clueless. They're really trying to leave China and go open factories. A huge percentage of them are looking into places like Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, those kinds of places.
Are you looking at leaving China and going to other factories with these people leaving the country?
Of course.
And take me through then, Dan. I've got a series of questions, starting with...
So the first thing is we're working with our existing suppliers.
Right.
Okay? They provide probably 70-80% of all the raw materials to factories in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand, where we're focusing.
Okay.
So these guys, they're already supplying the raw materials. So I had them... long discussion with them. They're going over there. They're contacting the factories over there who just happen to be mostly Chinese. So they could communicate with them. They buy the raw materials, and then they ship the raw materials to the factories, and the factories just have to produce.
Okay. And then does that affect time? Delivery back to the U.S.?
Yeah, it adds about 2 weeks.
Okay, so usually we use 8 to 10 weeks as a rule. Maybe we bump it 10 to 12 weeks as a rule.
Something like that, yes.
Okay, and then I would imagine consistency would be an important thing to customers too. If they're used to your S910, for example, it has to be the same one whether it comes from China or Thailand. Would you agree?
Oh yeah. So what's nice about the factory supplying the raw materials, if we have a bag, it's going to be the same fabric.
Okay.
The zippers will be the same. If we try and go source everything from a new factory. There's going to be something that's different, and it's going to take weeks and weeks of sampling. And you try and do that over 1,500 SKUs that we have. It's just going to be impossible. The other issue, I'll cut you off there for a second, is the molds. So the factories own the molds in China.
Yes.
They can ship the mold to Vietnam, for example, and get the stuff made in Vietnam, and then they get the mold back, or they can leave it there and continue to produce. And where this is really important is with drinkware, such as water bottles. So you have a water bottle, yeah, you can make that. That mold is not much. It's the lid that kills you. The lid molds are 15, 20 grand, typically. And if you ever tear apart a lid, it's got all kinds of components to it.
Interesting. So I got to come back. You said I think that other Chinese suppliers are quote unquote freaking out. I mean,
yes.
in layman's terms, what does that mean? What could that mean to these suppliers? Let's say if their business starts to go down because of tariffs, what could happen?
Layoffs. That's the one thing that they're really nervous about. Because of the layoffs, basically they pay 1 month to lay somebody off, plus 1 month for every year of their employment. So now all of a sudden they could have 6, 7, 8 months of wages to have to pay as a penalty.
In 25 years of doing this, roughly, have you seen this situation, this level of crisis with China?
No, just COVID was probably the only time I've seen some stuff like this.
But different, right? I mean, it was a different kind of a crisis.
Oh yeah, totally different kind of crisis. Yeah, it was a very, very, that was different. But in straight business and slowdowns, I haven't seen anything like this.
All right, so you seem pretty well versed in the category of tariffs and what's going on in country to country and so on and so forth. How are you with telling the future? How long do you think this crisis, if you will continue? What do you
We're currently budgeting for 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
And that's kind of where we're trying to measure production. We've got we got something like 24 million in inventory sales. That's on the sale level that we can sell. So we got plenty of stock.
Okay.
And any container that got out before April 5th is exempt from the most recent tariffs.
So if I'm a distributor person, I would assume that if you have $24 million in products to sell in Irwindale, California, out of your home office, there would not be tariffs on existing product that's in your warehouse.
Oh, no.
There won't be.
No, there'll only be the 20%. But that's minor compared to the big one.
Got it. Okay. All right. So I'm a sales guy. I'm a sales manager. I think a lot of our listeners would be really excited to hear real life situations. Are you cool with having a few questions that are real
Sure.
life? Okay. All right. So I work with our customers on a daily basis, and we give our customers a quotation. And customers are tough with us. What they're going to say is, Brian, you gave me a price of $1. Now you're saying when it lands, it might be $1.20. I'm perplexed. What do I say to the customers? Even though tariffs are pretty well understood, it's still hard when people budget for the order and then the tariffs come in after the fact.
Well, we've locked our prices in.
Okay.
Because we have so much stock. So for in-stock items, it's not a big deal. We've never changed a quote for inventory, at least not since this crisis has been. Mm-hmm. We've honored all the pricing. So yeah.
Do you think that that's different than other folks out there? And I'm not trying to name names by any stretch. What I'm just saying is you've taken I think a lead here by saying our prices are locked in.
Yeah, I'm sure other suppliers do the same thing, and there's been confusion out there. And we hear, as you are the sales manager.
Yeah, no, I have.
Right.
Right.
Talking to people that, there's some suppliers that are changing things up there. It's just kind of strange.
If a distributor wanted to get on the phone with you as the voice of excellence or from the strongest position of knowledge, would you get on the phone with a customer and help them understand what's going on and how to help them get through the situation?
Sure.
Do you think that would be something that going in the future is something that is going to become probably a part of your regular everyday business? As customers get to learn who we are and do specifically factory direct, so not 100 key tags or 100, but when we're doing 100,000 units, how involved do you want to be with the customers to make sure they're comfortable in purchasing from you?
Oh, I'm always involved in some way on the bigger stuff.
Okay.
Behind the scenes quite often.
All right, if I was going to ask you one word, when someone's doing a big deal with you, what do you want to make sure you convey to the distributor? You are blank.
Safe and secure.
Good.
Of course, it was 2 words.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. What about trustworthy?
Yeah, of course.
Of course, and I say that tongue in cheek, but when someone is getting ready to spend $100,000 on something, it is so important that they trust you. And it seems like where we're coming from on this particular podcast is just a position of being comfortable with us, being comfortable with you, asking any questions you want. Fortunately, I get to work with Dan on a daily basis. I've learned so much of this firsthand. I'm just trying to think of one last question I want to leave with our audience today, or one last comment, Dan, from you, to give the customers kind of a blue sky or a sunshiny look in a time when I think people see things as gloomy. What would you leave them with as a nugget?
Chaos is good.
Chaos is good. Wait,
So,
I know there's more meaning to that.
But within chaos, you can get new customers. People are going to be bidding jobs out.
Okay.
Orders are going to be out. Someone's going to screw up, and someone's going to over tariff somebody. That's going to create these new bidding. Because some of these big companies, they have to bid it out. It gets to a certain dollar point, and it has to be bid out. Or the price goes up a certain amount, it's going to get bid out. And so that's kind of what I would strongly suggest distributors to just really work, be aware of these things, and and push to find new suppliers if your existing suppliers can't handle it.
I think in closing, I would say that was a brief overview of tariffs. I think we have a really good command with Dan, our owner, on tariffs. Please feel free to reach out to us at any point. We'd love to help you answer those questions. What I like the most, though, is the kind of entrepreneurial vision of saying, yes, this is a challenge, but how do we go around this challenge? And how do we make money? How do we become more profitable during a difficult time like that? And we're always here, and Dan is always looking at new ways. I know the last thing is you're going to China here Wednesday night.
2 days.
Is it the same China, a new China? What do you think you're going to see there?
Oh, I think I'm going to see a lot of the same suppliers, but a whole bunch of new ones. I think there'll be more new ones in Hong Kong. I think there'll be a lot of signs that say, we produce in Vietnam, we produce in Cambodia, we produce in Thailand. You're going to see a lot of this, people knowing that they have to get out. So the ones that have got out, I think we'll see them at these shows. And that's what I'm expecting.
All right. Well, listen, I thank you so much for your time today. We hope this was super informative for you. Have a great afternoon, and thank you from High Caliber. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.